What's up, guys? Thomas Mott, joined by Josh Davis. Welcome into the Wednesday Link Live as Philadelphia had the pads on yesterday. Week 2 of training camp is basically almost done. They have a live practice tomorrow at the Link, and it's going to be a very exciting time as well for that, and a very exciting time for all of us Philadelphia Eagle fans, Josh, because so far so good at Eagles training camp, if we do say so ourselves.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, I don't know what else you'd want necessarily. Granted, you got people that are saying like, "Oh, come on, temper expectations. You got to be kidding me." Or Nolan Smith, why are you freaking out because he's beating Fred Johnson? But like, here's my argument, and I know we're like jumping right immediately into this, but if Nolan Smith is only going up against Fred Johnson, it's not like he can help him. Like, I'm sorry, he didn't go up against Lane Johnson. Now,
Sure.
would he win that matchup? I would probably even say no because it's Lane Johnson. But like, he's beating who's in front of him, and he beat Aneem Dankwa, or take that with a grain of salt also. But it's like you're beating the matchups. But yes, as you said there, like, I think you got to be really excited about it. We got most people that are, but there's a few that are like, yeah, okay. And we all understand, like, yes, it is training camp. We got to make sure and see this in preseason games and joint practices, and obviously the biggest product of being in the regular season. But as you tweeted, I don't know, 30 minutes ago, the vibes of this team are right. So, I mean, again, as of right now, it's the most positive that you would want. I don't know what you would. I mean, is there any? I wouldn't say like a main criticism, but like, is there a small criticism? Is there anything that you can think of? Because yes, you can always be better. I understand that, but like, is there a small criticism that you can come up with and say like, yeah, I mean, I guess you could pinpoint or like pick apart individual players, but just holistically, I mean, what would be the, like, is there a main criticism you immediately go to?
Very hard to actually give one. If I had to pick, I would say the secondary with a caveat, simply due to the fact that Jalen Hurts is not throwing an interception yet, right? We talked all offseason about how great the secondary is going to be, and the problem is, when you look at the stats, you read tweets from reporters at training camp, they'll say, Jalen Hurts, 13 of 16, 4 touchdown passes, 0 interceptions, and you go, wow, secondary is getting cooked. Then you actually put the film on, and the secondary is right there. I mean, the Eagles posted a great one-on-one matchup between A.J. Brown and Quinyon Mitchell, which A.J. caught the pass, was the inbounds, out of bounds, but still great coverage by Q, but you would chalk that up as a completion and a touchdown for Jalen Hurts. So the idea the secondary has been bad, I think, is completely false.
Do you think?
But I'm a little bit surprised they've not gotten one interception of Jalen Hurts, if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
If you had to,
especially because of
what else do you criticize though?
However,
right?
Shout out to Anthony DeBono, who is here, who said good evening. So what's up?
What's up to
Anthony and I would agree and say that it actually was an incompletion. I think he only got 1 foot in.
He only got 1 foot down.
One
okay.
foot?
Okay.
I don't know.
I haven't go back and watch it.
I haven't analyzed it super closely, but just a very quick. I mean, 2 watches of it in full time or full speed. I was kind of like, yeah, I think he might have gotten not both feet. I think it might have just been one. So people that have actually watched it, and I'm sure we've got others that have seen the breakdown, instant replay, slowing it down, all the analysis there. But it is fair. It's a. You look back at mini camp, and I don't know what Jalen had. Was it 5 interceptions, something like?
It was a lot.
6? Yeah, it could have been.
It was a lot. Yeah.
And now he hasn't. There's honestly the crazier part to me is this whole, like, and yes, it's overreaction. It was entitled an article "Overreactions of Training Camp," but like, we got to have something to talk about. And the QB2 controversy. Do we have something there? Because, hey, Tanner McKee's at least getting some second team reps. And, for as much as people want it, and I don't see those articles yet. I've seen, yes, the overreactions of like, oh, do we have a QB? But I haven't seen Tanner McKee outperforming Kenny Pickett. We saw Kenny Pickett outperforming Jalen Hurts back in minicamp, but I don't know. What do you think? We got a legit battle going on?
I'm not quite there yet. I think next, Friday's preseason game will tell you a lot about the quarterback 2 battle. And it was basically the same case last year. Mariota was terrible. Tanner McKee actually had some decent drives. It's just so hard to even use what I just said and use the preseason games because it's vanilla offense. They're using, guys who are never going to make the roster way down the wide receiver list, the offensive line list. And so, you're fighting an uphill battle. But still, I'm not going to get into the Tanner McKee Kenny Pickett side of things just yet until we actually get some preseason football. But listen, Tanner McKee, you talk about having an opportunity. He has the right size. He has the arm strength. He has a lot of things you would want in a quarterback. He just doesn't have the collegiate history of being fantastic. It's why he's a later round draft pick. And he doesn't really have let's just be honest, the college career and the stats that you would look back and go, okay, he can be really great. But, everything's there in terms of the intangibles, in terms of apparently he's very, very smart, in terms of a cerebral quarterback. But throwing the football is something that not everyone can do. And if Tanner McKee can figure it out, sure, he can go ahead and, push Kenny Pickett a little bit. But I think Pickett's ability to look back and say, yeah, I've won in this league, and actual regular season action is be very, very hard to beat. I think the quarterback that we have to talk about, Josh, and I'll get your answer on the Pickett thing here shortly, Jalen Hurts, man. We have got to talk about Jalen Hurts because I am absolutely stunned at how good he has been. And I was one thinking he was going to be great this training camp. I mean, it's been leagues better than anything we could have ever hoped as Eagle fans. A lot of people are on Jalen Hurts' side, 90% of Eagle fans. There's a 10% that still kind of wonders, is he the guy? It's training camp. We're going to keep saying that every time we make a bold statement tonight, but he's been pretty darn impressive.
How great is it the fact that Jalen is, because you hear it like or I guess we see it, but then you hear it in the press conference and interviews, but Jalen being like, yeah, we're being aggressive, and you see and hear the decisiveness, and it's the vibes feel different, as we were talking about a second ago, but like there's just and I know it's a new season, but there's like a different aura about him, and he felt lighter in the press conference, and then you're seeing it on the field. Now, we should also put out there the disclaimer that it is a Kellen Moore offense, which is good and bad, however you want to analyze it, right? Like there's going to be people that are going to hate it. There's going to be people that are like, oh yeah, but it's just like a chip away, death by 1,000 paper cuts to the defense. But at the same time, like if you look at a Vic Fangio defense or even flavors of that type of defense, the way that you beat it is you just take what the defense gives you. The defense is going to give you some pockets on the field, whether it's a lot of times the middle of the field, but there's going to be areas. And so a lot of the passes have been kind of the quicker pass, the 3-step drop, get rid of it. And Jalen's not making very many mistakes. Shout out to Joe Benji, who reminded that, yes, Kelee Ringo did have one thrown right to him yesterday that he just absolutely dropped.
He did drop, though. Doesn't count.
It was not an interception. You're right. It does not count. But even still, very accurate if we're getting into the keeping stats, 85% completion percentage for what that's worth. But then every once in a while, I think it's a difference of don't go hunt the deep plays. Like, don't go hunt the deep shots. It's take what the defense gives you, and then all of a sudden, oops, defense is sleeping. There you go, Smitty 45-yard touchdown, which how great has Smitty been too? I mean, again, within training camp here, but the plays that he's made, the Moss catch on Kelee Ringo, unfair for him there, but it's like, hey, Smitty's making plays. So this offense, man, and it's hard to tell with the running backs because, there's only so much you get in these scenarios. Yeah. But I think we already know about Saquon Barkley and the expectations you have there. So it's like, okay, Jalen's being aggressive. He's decisive. The Kellen Moore offense here, the receivers blending in, and you got Saquon. I'm excited about it. There are the questions of, okay, what does a defense do? And as you brought up before, you're not having interceptions, but I don't know. I mean, you win and lose with it. Because if Jalen throws an interception, then naturally it's like, okay, cool, the defense is doing well, but like, dang it, Jalen just threw an interception. So I don't know. I guess I'm probably okay with it because we have some pass breakups at least. We just don't have those turnovers. I think it'll be different. I think it'll be fine for the defense.
I think it'll be totally fine. Again, you asked me if I had to pick. That was definitely one of the one area, because really, if you think about training camp, and we've both been covering every single practice so far, and so if you watch either one of our shows, you have a pretty good idea about what happened at training camp. I know that both of us put as much content as we possibly can. We're monitoring Twitter during all the different camps and listening to people talk, and so we try to cover everything. But really, the first 2 weeks of Eagles training camp has been more about who haven't you heard of, right? Because everybody's getting mentioned. Johnny Wilson, he's on the thumbnail for tonight's show that you made. It's fantastic, by the way. And Johnny Wilson, somebody who was quiet the first couple of days. Last couple of days, he's making plays. He's making those big red zone, get up there, catch the football out of the sky that 6'7" guy should be able to do. Credit to Johnny Wilson. Is he going to be a stud or not? Don't know, but he's making plays. Same goes for a guy like Jalen Hunt, Mekhi Becton. Isaiah Rodgers has been made plays. Kelee Ringo's made plays. Quinyon Mitchell has made a ton of plays apparently so far, and seems we'll talk about him a little bit more. A couple of guys we haven't heard much of, Josh. I'm trying to think. Josh Sweat, a little quiet, but again, one padded practice, so it is what it is. But, Nolan Smith had a couple of simulated sacks. Jalen Hunt has done some good things. Have not heard a lot from Josh Sweat. Does that mean something? I don't know.
Kind of.
Not a ton
I would argue.
Okay. Not a ton from Kobe Dean. I think Dean's been a little quiet. Yep. But I don't think Zach Bond's been anything crazy either. Not like he's been flying around. I think last year Christian Ellis' name was mentioned every single stream, and yet Not really been the case so far for Zach Bond. Does that mean
I'm a
something?
little
I don't know.
biased. I'm gonna stop you there
You are
because
a
I'm a
little
little bit
biased,
biased
sure.
towards Zach Bond, and
Sure.
so maybe there's like some extra digging for
Sure.
like, okay, what's Zach Bond doing this one? He did have a tackle in the backfield on Saquon Barkley, and
Okay.
he did have a
Okay.
pass breakup as well. It wasn't an interception because nobody's picking the ball off on Jalen. But yes, it's not the level of a Christian Ellis.
Sure.
I still think it's drastic, and I'm not saying that you're saying this, but I still think it's drastically different based on what we're hearing, even the small sample size from Zach Bond compared to there's virtually nothing on Nakobe Dean, and he got beat by Kenny G on consecutive plays,
Yeah.
trying to guard him with passes
Yeah.
there. So, I mean, I think here's the thing, and we're both, and everyone's pretty much on the same page here. It's going to be preseason, right? Like that's where you're going to either seal the deal with the job or you're going to lose it and give the opportunity for Nakobe or someone else. But I don't think that what Zach Bond at this point, what he's shown, and take that into effect with what Nakobe's shown, is going to lose the job based on training camp practices. Like,
Okay.
I could be wrong, but I think
it's
it's at this point, you're like, hey, because you also look at it and go, Isaiah Rodgers and Kelee Ringo are swapping in and out of first team. If there was even a glimmer of hope or a glimmer of chance that Vic Fangio was like, yeah, Nakobe could possibly be that starter,
That's a great point.
he would have gotten first team reps to
Yeah.
start out. Now, I know he's rotating in there, but every single practice, it has been Devin White and Zach Bond. So to me, that goes,
That's a fair point.
okay, Vic Fangio is going to keep this going all the way till the first preseason game. And then maybe if Zach Bond shows like, okay, hey, this is not what we're hoping for, then after that, you might see some switch up. But I don't know. That's my Zach Bond argument and
It's
everything, because I
It's
am
fair.
biased with it.
Somebody mentioned haven't heard much from Bryce Huff. Fair. He's been a little bit quiet. I think you can also
True.
make the case Anais Smith has been extremely quiet, and I saw Brandon Lee Gowton point out disappointing almost has been kind of the thought process there from the Eagles' 5th-round draft pick. So, again, we're thinking of people that haven't been mentioned a lot because a lot of people have. I would say Bond is probably, or not Bond, I would say Smith is definitely, Anais Smith is another name that I can pull to the front of my brain right now in terms of struggling. But it doesn't mean that they're not performing well. It just means that, if you're a rookie, in Naismith's case, you're learning how to play in the NFL, and it might take a little bit of time.
The two biggest struggles from what I've seen, as we both, like you said, go through and comb through the desert with anything and everything, is Anais Smith and Ty Davis Price. I think both of those are right, because it's like, hey, Ty Davis Price has like 4 drops in 2 practices.
Yep.
And it was going to probably be somewhat difficult for him anyway. But if you're making those types of mistakes or having those miscues on offense, it's like, yeah, the writing's on the wall there. You probably are not going to make it. So Anais Smith is an interesting spot because he has that versatility, and he was drafted, and it's almost, I would be shocked if you cut him for one, but also if you do cut him, then all of a sudden, okay, there's no chance he's making it on the practice squad. There's just no chance because he's a rookie and he's not proven anything. So teams would go, well, heck, we'll take him. We'll take the flyer on him for a risk there. So, yeah, it maybe it's psychological. He had the injury, so he was slow starter at the minicamp situation, trying to get in the groove. It was good to at least see, we should note, that he did catch a touchdown pass from Tanner Mekhi on Tyler Hall. So it was one pass from Mekhi yesterday. But other than that, yeah, I've seen the same. It's Jimmy Kimsky said it as well. Brandon Lee Gowton said it. Jimmy Kimsky said it. He's had multiple drops. He's muffed some punts. So I don't know. I mean, everyone's just adjusting differently. And it's interesting. But at this point, I mean, I'll be honest. I don't know if you were in the same boat, but still high on Anais Smith. But if you had told me like, hey, okay, is it going to be Anais Smith or is it going to be Johnny Wilson? Who would be the front runner in terms of those rookies? I know we still have Paris Campbell and John Ross, but in terms of those rookies, who's going to be the front runner to compete for that wide receiver 3 spot? And I would have immediately been like, yeah, it's Anais Smith. And that's just not the case so far.
I think so too. So far. And again, we're 6 practices in, and they had a walkthrough today, which doesn't really count. Right. So it's still very, very early, but a fair point there right now. I want to make a quick little. I kind of want to do this now, and I mentioned this to Josh before we jumped on. I have had 4 tickets to the Eagles Open Practice tomorrow. They're general admission because that's all that you can buy. And I had announced 2 winners on my show on Friday. Never heard from them, so redid it a couple days ago, didn't hear back, and so I did it again today, and I heard back from one of the winners. He already has his. I forget who it was. It was like Mr. Shasty or something like that. I have 2 tickets to the Eagles Open Practice tomorrow that I said if I didn't hear back from the other winner by the live show, I'd give them away during the live show. So let me know in the comments if you would go, first off, if you won these tickets, because this is how we're going to do this. I don't want to have somebody win them who lives in Arizona and is not going to fly to Philadelphia tomorrow and go to the open practice. So if you're going to go,
Right.
let me know first, and then I'm going to do a little trivia to see who gets who wins it. The first person to go ahead and answer correctly is going to get those 2 tickets, and I'll send them to you if you shoot me an email. So we'll let that kind of populate in there. But I think you gave some away, and I'm sure that your people already claimed them, right?
They did, yes. But as you're doing right now, and because we've had it a number of times, you know what? Hey, it's fine. I understand. Life gets busy. People forget, whatever. But did the same thing on the live stream because it was like with tickets and especially the timing here, it just takes so long.
Okay.
I was going to mention real quickly, you were talking about practices and, the schedules and all this other stuff. More practices, right? Even though we're only 6 in or whatever it's at this point. More practices, the intensity is higher. And focus on conditioning, which is really good. And was texting Isaiah Rodgers just to see about some potentials on things. And in the meantime, he was like, bro, this is crazy. Like, I'm tired. They've got us running like ridiculous. So he's feeling the effects of it in a good way. But just to make note of that, it has been quite the wear and tear as far as what training camps go.
Subtle little plug, just texting Isaiah Rodgers. It's not like that big a deal.
Well, I mean,
you're just texting him, just checking in on Isaiah Rodgers, just seeing what he's thinking.
We're trying for some other stuff as well, but it's
okay. I see people are saying that they want to go, like Phil Long wants to go. Who else said they want to go? Antonio said he's from the Philadelphia area. I'll go. #tickets. I do. Okay, so here's how we are going to do this. Again, only answer if you actually will go, because I'm going to make sure, and not I'll pick somebody else. But
and I see some people that already won from mine, so like
you already won. You're not going to win 2 more tickets.
Yeah.
That's how it works. So we're trying to help somebody who wasn't going to go because they didn't have tickets be able to go because I have 2 more tickets. That's the whole goal right here. So, and to make the trivia question ungoogleable, if that's a word, I saw you do this on a show like yours. It's one that pertains to myself. Yep. What day in May did I get married this past May? This past, 2 months ago? First person to comment who is going to actually use the tickets, what day correctly, and you can guess as many times as you want, what day I got married to my lovely wife, 2.5 months ago, 3 months ago now? Let me know down below. So let that populate, and we will see who's going to go ahead and win that.
Okay, so they've got the month. We just got to see.
May what? May what of this year?
Date.
Johnny Pace says, I can't go. I'm working late tomorrow. There you go. That stinks. All right, they're coming. Those are all wrong. I'll see who gets it first here. It's not the 21st. It's not the 16th. Not the 15th. Not the 8th. No one's got it yet. Let's see. Again, only do it if you're actually going to go.
Closer.
Yeah, but which direction? Because you got the 19th there. You got the 8th there.
Yeah, that's true.
Travis says Devin White ranked 65th in the top 100 just 2 years ago at age 26. There you go. It's not bad. Oh, I see it. There it is. Cheyenne Diane got it. Boom. All right. So I need you to shoot me an email. Cheyenne? I think that's how you say that. Cheyenne got it. Only person to
Works
get
for
it.
me.
All right, Cheyenne, you got to shoot me an email. It should be here. Let me add it to my description box. That way you can definitely get it, and then I can get those sent to you as quickly as possible. I should have done this earlier. Okay, it is in my description box. Send me an email. My wife confirming who got it. ThomasMacho@gmail.com. Just take a screenshot of you like logged into your YouTube account the way it proves it's you, and I'll get those sent to you very, very quickly. So you are the winner. Congratulations. You get 2 tickets to Cheyenne. Cheyenne, that's how she's saying. And Cheyenne, you're for sure going, right? I give you these 2 tickets. You got somebody in mind. You're gonna go. That's the whole goal. So,
yeah.
All right. Should be an
email.
email.
Cool. It's not required. It'd be cool if, like, those of y'all that won tickets, maybe send some pictures just from being there. Just show it on the show or something like that.
That'd be very nice.
Not required, but
I totally agree. I'm gonna look for that email during the show. If I don't get an email from Cheyenne, I think that's how you pronounce her name, in like 30 minutes, I'm gonna respin. I gotta get these out of my possession because I'm in Atlanta. I can't go. I don't want to waste 2 good tickets to the Eagles Open practice tomorrow. So it should be in my description box. ThomasMacho@gmail.com. There you go. I just put it in the chat.
There's going to be like 40,000 people probably, So I mean.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be busy. It's gonna be very, very busy.
It's crazy as always. That's the part that
with my brother. She says she see. Okay.
Let's go. All right.
There you go. Congratulations. All right, so the tickets are gone. They are officially gone. That is awesome. I saw someone come on earlier. It was a super chat. I totally missed it. I'll throw it up on the screen right now. With a $5 from Johnny Pace. Let me win that helmet. I'll pay you. Josh is getting close to giving away Isaiah Rodgers' helmet, huh? Getting pretty close.
You guys saw that one too. Yeah, we're getting there. We're a little less than 7,000, which is crazy.
It's going to be like next month. At the rate we're going, it's going to be about next month.
Yeah, well, who knows? It is crazy. But yeah, it'll be out here soon enough. Right now, Georgia's rocking it every once in a while. It doesn't fit my head, so you just the 2-year-old is.
Is it too
she
small?
Loves to put it on. It's too small. Yeah.
Is it really?
Well, I mean, like, like what? I'm 6'3" and he's 5.
That's true. That's true. He was basically 5'10". My height. Yeah, he was as tall as I am. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and the padding in there is a lot extra than what I've remembered, at least way back in high school playing football. Right. So there's also other elements to it. But yeah, I tried for a second. And I was like, no, I'll get stuck, and it's not coming off.
Can you imagine if you cut it off your head, completely ruin it?
Like, sorry, the helmet is non-existent anymore. But no, Georgia's wearing it. The 2-year-old's.
There you go.
Rocking it around the house.
I think I got Cheyenne just emailed me. She said, or he or she, I don't know. Sorry, is gonna send me a screenshot here in a second. So we'll hold that. Also, someone asked about the Brian Westbrook jersey. Yeah, if you didn't watch my show today, I got a signed Brian Westbrook jersey for 60,000 subs. So as we approach that, that's gonna be coming up here soon. So no, I've not given it away. Same rules as Josh's in terms of. Once we get to 60, random subscriber wins it. Don't hear from them in a couple days. We'll spin again, and so on and so forth. So there you go.
How could you not want a Brian Westbrook signed? I mean, that was. Jersey. I think we talked about that was the first Eagles poster that I had was Brian Westbrook.
Eagles poster was the second Eagles jersey I had. I had a black one. My first was Terrell Owens, which lasted like 9 months, and then I never got to wear it again. So
that's the jersey curse that happens quite a bit.
It happens. Yeah. I want to quickly just at least mention really what to expect from tomorrow. Tomorrow for the open practice, and again, we both gave away, I think, 6 total tickets to the open practice for tomorrow. It's the first time we're actually going to get footage of Eagles team drills, 11-on-11s and 7-on-7s. That's not coming from the Philadelphia Eagles. The Eagles do not allow anybody to film their practices. All the reporters have about the first 30 minutes of practice to film during drills. Then when they get to actual team exercises, offense versus defense, they make you stop. They can't police everybody. And so we're at the point where tomorrow we're going to get some real footage to break down from blurry cameras inside the link and hopefully from people on the sideline as well. I'm pumped for that. That's going to be very, very fun.
Sneaking a little bit of photos and videos. And it never fails because we're not going, let's just say this, we're not encouraging you to break the rules.
Correct.
But if you just so happen to accidentally have a video of something at the link that happens, feel free to tag us in that. I think that they try to police it a little bit.
Do they
I don't
really?
know. I mean, because they were shutting down a couple live streams because people were live streaming and then they got security on them.
No way.
So I don't know how closely.
I did not know that.
There's way too many people, but they do try to.
Don't break the law. I did not tell you to do that.
Videos,
I did not tell you to make the Eagles angry. I thought that it was because it was open. It was like free game. Never mind.
It kind of. No, I mean, you're right. It kind of is because it's like 40,000 people. But I did remember thinking because I was like, if there's that many people, why were a couple plays even last year? I was like, why could I not find anything? You would think it'd just blow up. Like Eagles Nation would be promoting it. And I'm like, I think Zach is. I'm just remembering some random name, but I think there was a dude named Zach who had like a couple videos last year, and I was like, well, at least Zach was out there trying to take one for the team, so we got some clips from it. But yes, if they post and say it's against the rules, we're not encouraging. Right. But if you just happen to accidentally have it recording, feel free to tag us in that because we love all the clips. So we'll see how it is. But for those that are in person, at least you get to see the takeaways yourself. You get to actually see the offense, the competition there. I'm so excited. Just, I know everybody's hyped about it, but the Eagles open practice, getting closer to preseason, it feels like there's more, and maybe it's the recency bias, but I would still say like looking at the depth on this team versus what last year was, there's just more to play for. Like even the starters that won't be there, we've talked about it, but like a Johnny Wilson to the point of you got the rookies, even Anaya Smith needs to play better and kind of show some encouraging promise there. You've got the cornerback battle, seeing what those guys are going to do. I'm interested. Does Quinyon Mitchell start out in first team reps? And then when some guys get the night off? Does he transition to the outside, or is it like, hey, we're gonna, keep you healthy, not have you out there too much? Like, how much does he get outside versus the slot? Because I've been surprised that he's played as much slot as he has previously, and I don't know if that's partly because of a Cooper Dejean injury that is like, oh, hey, maybe let's shake things up here. But there's so many different camp battles that are going on that I'm really interested for preseason. That's going to be very exciting. Lots of storylines.
That's a great point, because we know that starters are not going to play. That's all but guaranteed. You won't see Hurts or Saquon or AJ. But are you going to see, Isaiah Rodgers? Are you going to see Avonte Maddox, who's now kind of a backup safety piece? James Bradberry get some reps in at safety? I mean, there are quite a few players. You got to kind of wonder, like, are they going to get some actual reps? I mean, like I think Isaiah Rodgers versus Kelee Ringo is a legitimate question, because at this point, one of them is going to turn out to be the starter, the other's not, and so you'd want to get as much film as they possibly can. If I was Isaiah, I'd want to play at least a little bit, get kind of my sea legs underneath me for an early preseason game. But then the same thing goes for Quinyon Mitchell. Quinyon Mitchell, he's a first-round draft pick. You don't want to use him a bunch, but he's not starting, at least on the outside. You give him outside reps after he starts in the nickel spot. It's going to be very interesting in terms of the preseason where people roll in and out.
Yeah, or they bring it, they could break it up preseason game by preseason game. You say, hey, first one, let's not throw too much at him. He's been doing mostly the slot in training camp. So, hey, it's Quinyon Mitchell there. Yeah. And then second one, maybe you say, hey, like Slay and Kelee, or Slay and Isaiah Rodgers, whoever, if you feel better about a certain group for starters, y'all take the night off. And then you have, whoever and Q at the outside. But lots of combinations. I'm going to be interested to see that side. Also for, the pass rushing reps too, because we'll get some more meaningful,
good point.
Something out there. We might not see Jalen Carter. I don't think that he has anything to prove. I don't know why we put him out there, but it's Fangio. So that's the other part. I'm like, how much is he going to say? Like, I don't care. You could get injured on any play. I don't care. Go ahead. I would assume there's probably a little back and forth with Sirianni and figuring out who's going to get some reps off or who's going to get some nights off. But it is different. Like, I don't know. There's a chance.
Laterrence Perry, excuse me. Thomas and Josh, always love your shows. Subscribe to their channel for legit content. Go Birds, #Fly Eagles Fly. We appreciate that.
Go Birds, appreciate that.
You mentioned Quinyon Mitchell. The fact that he's been able to pick up the nickel spot as quickly as he has through, 2 weeks of OTAs in minicamp and week and a half, 2 weeks so far here at training camp. It's very impressive, and it speaks to just how good of a cornerback he can potentially be. His press conference yesterday, I put it on my show this morning, I couldn't believe he's never played nickel before. Like, he legit said in his press conference, I've never played nickel. They'd never moved him anywhere close to nickel at Toledo because he was the best outside cornerback and just followed everybody around for every single game that Toledo had. I'm just shocked at how good he has been so far. And it's not like he shouldn't be this good. I mean, he's first-round draft pick, probably the best cornerback in the draft. But at the same time, it seems like he's going to contribute on a serious level for Philadelphia in year one, which, again, Jalen Carter contributed on a pretty decent level early on, and then he really fell off towards the latter half of the year. They're going to be relying on Quinyon Mitchell a ton this year, especially if he wins the starting nickel job, and at least through the first couple of practices, Avonte Maddox has played more safety than nickel for the majority of the days. So it's kind of Q's to lose right now is what it sounds like.
I didn't see. I like that Q's to lose. I did not see that one coming. I'll be honest, because again, it looked like it was a Cooper Dejean and or Avonte Maddox, and Q would just be on the outside. But you look at the versatility. Obviously, he has it, and they felt like, let's go ahead and transition here. I do love the fact they asked him in the press conference and said, "Hey, did the something to the effect of like, did the Eagles look at you in the slot beforehand? Like, when did this happen?"
Right.
And he was basically like, "No, like this training camp is kind of like." You're going to do this. So in my mind, that tells me Dejean was going to at least get half of those, if not all those reps. And once he gets injured with a hamstring, they go, well, we might as well maximize Q and get his reps up here because he's the other best option at the slot position. So the fact that he can do it, that he's willing to do it, and he's got the competitive fire to match up against AJ and locking him down on some reps, he's getting beat on others, but hey, that's the learning process of it. And AJ, even afterwards, like helping to teach him or just to go through like, hey, pick up some pointers here or there. This is what you should be looking for. I don't know. It's surprising, but if you look at in the slot and being able to tackle, it makes sense, with Avonte Maddox and the health concerns, it's like he could be a potential viable backup, but we don't necessarily look at him and say, yeah, you have to start with the way that Q is a ball hawk too. Fangio probably goes, you're an athlete. You can figure this thing out. If you haven't played it before, I have confidence in you. And obviously, he's
Yeah,
giving those reps to him. So, yeah, like Phil Eagle says, Q has high football IQ. There's no doubt. There's absolutely no
big
doubt
time.
that he has high football IQ.
Great point. Great point. And again, Fangio doesn't care. That's and again, I don't know. He obviously cares, but he doesn't care who you are, and that's kind of the beauty of Vic Fangio.
Yeah.
And I think probably what rubbed a lot of Dolphin players wrong or rubbed them the wrong way this past season was it's like I'm so and so Dolphin player, like I should be playing more, I should be starting here, so on and so forth, and then they don't. And Fangio's like, hey, we need the best players out there, and hopefully it transitions to Philadelphia's defense being very good. And you did make a good point. The offense, you make the argument that they've been a lot better than the defense, at least so far, or at least a little bit of, a notch ahead. Maybe more starters actually play in Fangio's defense in a couple of preseason games just to kind of, make sure they have a full grasp. But you also get joint practices with the Patriots coming up, was it 2 weeks from now, I think is the official time. So it's going to happen pretty soon to where you can get real live, 11 on 11 reps. And by the way, I just emailed the tickets to Shayon, and he accepted them, and he proved it was him. So he's got them. Tickets are gone. There you go. That is official. Good. I'm glad that people are getting tickets they can actually go.
Yes. It also had a quick question here that Skippy Mizzle, I believe, says what channel is the Brazil game going to be on? Who's covering that? So that is Peacock. Again, just to confirm, it'll be a Friday night kickoff.
Get your money ready.
Who doesn't play Friday night games? NFL Friday night games. It's going to happen. So there's not a way to get around that one. But it's going to be in Brazil and Peacock. So if you don't have the subscription, or you don't want to buy it, or there's other ways to possibly watch the game, you can still hang out with us, or even still, you could still watch the game and hang out with us. As the same way as Frank from Philly was saying that an earlier comment. Also realize now that's why the training camp videos are so fast. The quick fast videos. There's sometimes that they don't allow those videos out there, but for the Brazil one, it'll just be either you have the subscription or you have a secret way to watch it. You can come hang out with us.
You watch with us. We've been working on a bunch of stuff. I mean, we're looking like we're going to showcase some of that during the first preseason game. So we're trying to make that broadcast way better than just staring at somebody watching the ESPN ticker go back and forth and tell you what they're seeing. So hopefully you guys join us for the first preseason game, and we're going to try and have a lot of fun with our broadcast this year. We're up in the ante, right? I mean, come on. Both our channels have blown up the past couple of 6-7 months, and so we're trying to make sure we live up to the subscribers and the views that we're pulling in right now, and to make sure we're the best content you guys can possibly have for the Philadelphia Eagles. So we appreciate you guys. And right on cue, there's Brian Heffron saying appreciate you both. So your coverage is refreshing. Talk radio gives me anxiety anymore. Keep it up. Thank you both. I came from talk radio. I mean, I was a local. I had my own show here in Atlanta covering the Atlanta Falcons, and talk radio is tough. And the problem with talk radio is you got to fill 4 hours. Like, you got to fill 4 hours. And in 4 hours, you can talk about a lot of stuff that isn't the facts of what happened with the Philadelphia Eagles. And so it's very fun, I think, to have a YouTube channel for both of us where we're just trying to give you what's going on. And I saw a comment on your show the other day that was like, this is the best, most concise recap of everything happening with the Eagles in 10 minutes or less, to where I don't have to worry about following all the Twitter people and all the beat reporters. It's like, what happened today in training camp? 10 minutes, boom, I'm done. Now I know. And that's our goals. We appreciate you guys watching and having fun. Really appreciate that.
Yes, that is. And like you said also, the part that's really exciting is because we talked about this last year, but it's hard because, you're in the middle of the season and making all these changes and everything else. But now we had some off-season time to work on some stuff and a little bit of lulls throughout summer. So the live streams, they're going to be lit. Let's just say that. They're going to be a lot more than what they were last year, which last year was great. We had a blast for everybody who was there originally, but it's just adding a little extra flavor to those. So it should be good. Very
fun. Very, very fun. Are you surprised how quickly the Eagle offense has figured out Kellen Moore's system? Like, does it almost feel too good to be true yet? I know we've been positive the entire time. I was thinking about this before we did the live show. I was like having dinner with my wife, and then we finished. I was doing dishes, and I was thinking about tonight's live show. And it's like, all we heard during OTAs was like the offense is struggling, right? Jalen Hurts throwing interceptions. They can't figure it out. And of course, we always said, well, it takes a while to figure out an offensive system. Steichen, year one, Steichen year two. Steichen year two is much better. It's very difficult to learn a new language. And a lot of Eagle players have said the hardest part, in A.J. Brown's words, is the terminology, different words, different languages. And yet, at the same time, they've been really, really good so far. Do you need to see joint practices against a different opponent to kind of prove that they've figured out the Kellen Moore offense? Or are you a believer that Jalen is Jalen and he spent the time in the offseason to master it, and that's just the result in the field right now?
Yeah, I mean, I'm the eternal optimist. So there's a level of optimism and confidence where I'm kind of like, let's go.
There you
Like,
go.
and there's still the
Fair.
excitement. So I'm like, hey, we're going to do this thing. And Jalen looks great and all this other stuff that we've been talking about, the offense.
Yeah.
And heck, the rookies, Johnny Wilson is going to be that red zone target. Like, I don't know why else at this point. The dude's 6'7", you throw it up to him, mismatch waiting to happen. But yes, I do need to see it. The problem is, and it's not, I don't know, problems may not maybe not the right word. If it happens in joint practice a little bit, okay, cool, but it's still not the Eagles' full-blown offense.
Right.
It's some.
Right.
In preseason, we're probably not going to see the starters, or if we do, it's going to be very limited. And even in that, it's probably going to be a vanilla offense. So, I mean, I guess to me, like the full-fledged, okay, yes, we're rocking, we got everything figured out, or maybe not everything, because it still, slowly builds momentum over the season. But I would say it's probably like first 2 or 3 weeks. That's the most important to me. If the first 2 or 3 weeks, I'm like, man, this offense is clicking. Like, yeah, there's some things here or there, but Jalen is quick and decisive with where he's going to go with the football. He's seeing the field well. The offense looks, I mean, they don't have to look unstoppable, but they're just firing on all cylinders or mostly. Then yeah, I'd be ready to say, okay, this thing's actually going to happen. But there is an element of it, like you're asking me. It's exciting so far because Jalen hasn't thrown the interception. He threw that really the one that was bad to Kelee that should have been picked, but he's not throwing any interceptions yet. And the offense does seem to be picking it up very quickly so far. So, I don't know. I mean, confidence level, I'm 7 of 10, 7.5 out of 10, 8 of 10, somewhere in that range. I just need to see it once we obviously get, regular season, because that means more.
We got Anthony Perry with the 20. Anthony, we appreciate that.
Let's go. Appreciate that.
How do y'all feel about CJ Gardner-Johnson's swagger today with the Kobe shot to end the meeting? Love his energy. It's infectious. I have that right here. If you did not see this earlier, CJ Gardner-Johnson, he basically was asked to hit what was basically a three-point shot a little bit further because Sirianni has the basketball. Here you go. You see it right here. And he drained it, and it canceled the whole team meeting for the rest of the night. And look at me, everybody's going crazy. This was very fun. They dropped this on the Eagles socials a couple of about 35 minutes ago. This is good stuff right here. The vibes are incredible, and the fact that CJ Gardner-Johnson is the reason because of it is just further proof that bringing him back was truly the smart move from the Eagles.
For sure. Do you have a problem with because I did see there were a few comments out there. We went 1-6, finished 1-6. Not, yes, that was last season, but there's some people that are like, hey, get back in there, and I know there's trolls, but like there's some legit people as well going like, no, you guys need to prove something, you need to get back in there. I don't care. I'm one of those that you see something like that. Yes, there's a lot of guys that were here last year also. They feel that pain. They know it. They're focused. But at the same time, you got to move on to this next season. And there's a lot of new elements into it, like CJ Gardner-Johnson, who's draining the shot there. I am with you of like, it's positive vibes. You got the energy, you got the hype. It's one team meeting. Sure, they're going to have lots of others where they can focus on it. But I saw a lot of comments and people that it went like 50-50. I'm like, to me, I would rather that, quite honestly, because it's not like they're going to cancel every single team meeting.
Right.
But I want them to celebrate more because for the longest time, even before we got even on the losing streak, I was like, is this team undefeated? Is this team 10-1? Like,
there's no swagger.
They're not showing that swagger. They're not showing that excitement. And, they still need to prove it. But I'm much more on these vibes of the team. That's for sure.
You wonder what even goes into an actual team meeting like this during training camp after a walkthrough practice, right? I mean, they're not watching film. You're watching film, and even
rookies sing. That's what it is.
Yeah, it was right. Rookies sing. So people are probably very happy to be getting out of there. They don't have to listen to all the rookies just butcher songs. I have no problem with it. I think most Eagle fans do not care. It's the trolls out there who are upset at the collapse last year. But like you said, it's a new team. It's a new year. Everything's different. And that even goes into the coaching staff. People still are trying to kind of rehash, is Nick Sirianni the right coach? Is he upset at Jalen Hurts? And I think the Eagles did a great job week 1 of training camp just shutting it all down, right? The first press conference, Hurts came out. Hey, guys, here's the deal. We're fine. Move on. Sirianni, same thing. And even Devontae Smith, when asked about it in that kind of funny viral clip, what was it? It wasn't the press conference, but off to the side, he just like rolls his eyes. They're just tired of talking about last year. So move on from it. And if you're still worried about last year, just like let them try and figure out this new football team because every year is different. And at least we can say the vibes feel very, very different with the team right now. And Gardner-Johnson is a big, big part of that. And I think he's been great so far. Everyone keeps mentioning him as like the glue guy on this defense, the guy that's going to make sure that everybody's good to go, everybody's fired up, no one's slacking, anyone's, holding out, he's going to go up and talk to them. His addition is really, really special, and it's going to help out everybody on that secondary.
Oh, without a doubt. Do you have that clip? The Eagles posted it, but the one where Slay breaks up the pass from is intended for Smitty, but he breaks up the pass on Jalen, and then CJ's there to give him the high five. Like that. That's the type of the glue guy, but the energy, the intensity, because it's not only he's made a few plays, but it's that, hey, you made a play, and not everyone's a celebrate, go crazy when you do something, but I think everyone can attest. You want that type of player on your team, like someone to hype you up and be like, hey, you made a play here. Congrats, man. Let's go. High five, get excited, get amped. Even Slay talking about like it's kind of amazing the fact that CJ's going nonstop, like talking and trash talking and intense and excited. And Slay's like, man, sometimes I just got to breathe. Like, but just CJ goes nonstop. And that is the intensity that we see, the good and the bad, because there was a little bit of a shoving that happened after one of the plays. And CJ's first and foremost, like right there in it. So you missed that last year. I think everybody understands that. But yeah, to see those types of elements on the team, it is very refreshing. That's for sure.
There it is. Yeah, up on the screen right now. Everyone loves it. Everyone loves the fact that he's pumped. You also see Devin White blitzing there. Picked up well from Saquon Barkley, which, again, linebackers did not blitz a lot last year, and White has mentioned that could be a real piece of what Philadelphia is going to do. So, again, very, very exciting. It's such a fun time, and I know that every single NFL fan base has this right now. You're all 0-0. No one's lost a game yet. Expectations are sky high. We're the same place the Jaguars are right now. They think they're going to win a Super Bowl. The Chiefs think they're going to win a Super Bowl. The Lions, the Vikings think they got it with J.J. McCarthy. The Bears are all like, we're all pumped right now. And to get little clips like that, It's very exciting. It's very, very exciting. Let's go.
Dallas, not so much.
Besides Dallas, did you
their
see?
Their fans are not showing.
That's right. I could not.
It's been all over the local radio.
Oh,
and I love it because they're like freaking out and everything and letting them hear it. But today was Military Appreciation Day at Cowboys training camp, and they still don't show up. Like Zeke Elliott, when you're talking about a press conference or just like a little sidebar conversation and ask about, hey, do you notice any differences? Is it the same? Blah, blah, blah. And he goes, it's about the same. And he kind of looks around. He's like, I mean, there's less people here. And, even the reporter's like, what, you think there's less people? And he's like, yeah. So it's like, come on, what are you doing? But the hype is not there. It's not the same.
Crazy.
So, you got to love it.
But, I mean, come on. Look at Philadelphia's offseason where they added all this stuff. I mean, literally every single day we're like, what's Jelix Hunt doing? What's Saquon Barkley doing? Mm-hmm. What's Isaiah Rodgers doing? What's Quinyon Mitchell doing? What's Cooper DeJean when he's healthy? C.J. Johnson, what are these guys doing? Bryce Huff. And the Cowboys are like, oh, good, we finally signed CeeDee Lamb. Although I think that report on Twitter was fake. They've not inked him yet, right?
Yeah,
that's not been official because there was that report. And that's not been confirmed that he got $35 million a year or whatever it was. And so they're still waiting for his extension. Dak is a giant mystery. Obviously, Micah Parsons. It's a mess. Justin with a $20 super chat here. This year feels like a change of the guard year. Did they sign him?
No, I'm sorry. The 20 bomb. I'm still looking for it.
Okay. Change of the guard this year with BG after retiring and Slay potentially retiring as well. And, of course, Pave the Lane retiring sooner rather than later makes me sad. It does. But at the same time, they have plans in place for all of these players, right? BG, obviously, Nolan Smith, that's the plan, and they obviously signed Bryce Huff as well. Darius Slay, they have a ton of plans behind Darius Slay. Ringo, Rodgers, Quinyon Mitchell, Cooper DeJean, even technically, if he wants to play at some point in the nickel and they move Quinyon outside, whatever. Lane is the more difficult one, but Becton is kind of there to be that guy, right? Because obviously Tyler Steen is going to be a right guard. I think he's going to be injured for longer than we thought with that, ankle twist or whatever it was. But Becton is originally a tackle and has played right tackle with the Jets. And so really you could move him over there, although they probably draft somebody this year. But they have the plans in place to replace these guys. And I think Lane's probably got, this season at least one more. I bet Slay, unless they win a Super Bowl, probably has one more after this, and BG's the only one that's actually going to go ahead and hang things up. So, is what it is. But change of the guard happens, and Fletcher Cox is gone. In comes Jalen Carter, and Carter's going to be better than what Cox was last year because it's the tail end of his career versus the start. So, what are you going to do?
Yeah. Justin, like you say, appreciate the 20. I was double checking to verify, see if there's anything extra. But as far as what I can tell, it was just the same fake report. It could be happening, but nothing official for CeeDee Lamb. I'm right there with you though in terms of I get it. Yes, there's the changing of the guard, the vets that are
Sure.
close to retirement, so BG that will definitely retire. It's tough to see that. Jason Kelsey retire. Like it's tough as the guys that have been there for so long and the leaders of it, and now you're changing
Hmm.
and kind of seeing the different guys have to step up or new guys get inserted to the lineup and things like that. But yeah, but it does feel that way. It's like BG, obviously this is his last year. Slay has been brought up multiple times, and naturally he spoke about it in the press conference. But if they don't make, it's kind of like if they don't make or if they don't win a Super Bowl, but there's some potential there. It kind of depends to me. It's like, okay, how much of a drop off where to have at that point?
Yeah,
But if he wins a Super Bowl, I think that's hey, I'm riding off into the sunset. We did it. There's
probably
nothing
so.
else that I've got to prove. I'm done. Which, you may some people may not, love that because it's like, all right, hey, Slay's leaving. But at that point, I'm like, cool, we appreciate it. He would have very much contributed, I'm sure, but I'm also fine. You got a Super Bowl out of it. So now you move over because you have a lot of the depth there. But it's really, it is perfect, like you said, because you've got these guys that Howie sees the future and you're going, okay, BG's going to be gone soon. He knew that Kelsey would be. So Cam Jurgens is taking the void. All the guys that you mentioned on that side. Really the only one, and it's questionable of where that goes because you could argue, well, does Mekhi Becton, is he the guard or does he end up being that swing tackle and developing into that way to be the backup for Lane? But overall, I would say when you look at those guys there, the only one that you question and go, okay, do we have a plan in place for a replacement? And I would say Lane, not so much. Becton could possibly be that, but that would be the one where you're like, hey, we haven't really drafted for someone or planned very long term to say you're here for a while because Steen or Becton, one of those are going to be the right guard. I don't think that they just absolutely love Steen at right tackle position because they're trying to see if it'll work at right guard. But out of those three, it kind of feels like Lane's going to be the latest, or the longest staying on the squad. So you don't necessarily have to address it immediately. But I get it. It's tough to see. It's tough to see the names like that retire. It's tough to see them leave the building.
It happens, though. At least they're in good hands, man. At least they are. At least
Sure.
Philadelphia is set up to win a lot of football games. And we said this in 2022, and they did win a lot of football games in 2023, just couldn't actually win them, when it actually mattered. But they're set up to really make a move. And it goes back to the whole Jalen Hurts at the beginning of the show, right? He's balling out. And I think I said today on my show earlier, if Hurts is a top 5 quarterback, this offense is going to go crazy, right? If you get 2022 Hurts in this iteration of the Eagles offense, this iteration of the Eagles offense is way better than the 2022 offense because you have, Smitty, another year wiser, right? I mean, 2 more years wiser than 2022. Saquon Barkley versus Miles Sanders is a completely different ball game, and you can make the argument that A.J. Brown is better than he was in 2022, right? Like, everybody is wiser and better and should be way more scary than a 2022 offense that was lighting everybody up, especially in the postseason. If Hurts goes back to being a top 5 quarterback, which during training camp, which, asterisks, whatever, so far it's been the case. If that continues, they're going to be in really, really, really good hands going forward.
How about Jalen being ranked top 15? He ranked number 15
that?
NFL top 100 players. He was third, right? I'm remembering correctly, third last year. So third to 15. Naturally, you expected him to drop a little bit. But Dak Prescott is number 16. So you got to love to see that. He's still behind it, and it's voted on by the players. Understandably, the timing of when they take those votes is like anywhere from, I think, like November to January.
Right.
So, you could say, well, how many of those votes took place when the Eagles were 10-1 or they'd only lost like 2 games? If you took it at the very end of the season, does that change? Who knows? But still, I do love the fact that, yes, other people may be doubting him, but when you hear some interviews, you see what players say about him. It's like, hey, there is a difference there versus maybe the offense that he had to run and manage it under. And so he still keeps the defense on their toes and they respect him. So you got to love that. The fact that he's still top 15 as opposed to, there's some rankings out there that he's not even a top 10 quarterback and all these other craziness. But how quickly that could change if, all of a sudden they're like, oh, wow, what in the world? Do you give Jalen Hurts an actual NFL offense that uses motion and maximizes the efficiency that he has out there? Wow, Jalen's putting up close to 4,000 yards passing and 40 total touchdowns, MVP candidate. It's crazy. It's very, very quick how people flip that, but at least he's top 15.
and the fact he's got Saquon Barkley now, that is, I mean, he is going to do some crazy things in Philadelphia this year, and I'm really going to have a hard time when we start drafting for my fantasy leagues not taking him very early, right? Like if you're sitting
It's
at
very hard to do.
9 in a 12-person fantasy league and Saquon's on the board, right? I mean, it depends on where everyone else is. As an Eagle fan, for me, it's going to be very hard to not be like, yeah, I'm going to take Saquon Barkley. It's going to be very, very hard not to. He's not top 5, you know, it's something crazy here, but yeah, I'm very excited. I got to get him in one of my fantasy leagues. I really feel like I do. I'm really drinking the Kool-Aid.
Well, it was the same thing last year because, you know, it was the like, okay, where do you take Swift? How quickly? A.J. Brown, Devontae, naturally, you know, like all those. But it every single year, it's the honestly, there's like one draft where I'll try to go into it and be like, okay, as unbiased as I can. You take just the best available, be smart about it. Don't go with your heart, go with your head. But then once I do one of those drafts, it's kind of like, okay, I got it out of the way. And then the next draft, I'm like, I don't care, baby. I'm going to go after the Eagles players so that I can watch them and everything else. But either way, even as I'm looking at that, I mean, I kind of go back and forth. It's like, okay, you're not going to run Saquon into the ground. So I think that everyone, or most people, I shouldn't say everyone because I've seen a few, but most people believe and agree that it's like, you're not going to have him getting 25, 30 touches a game. But there's going to be, you know, those moments, and there's going to be some of those games, which hopefully it's against New York, but there's going to be some games where Saquon has, you know, 150, 200 total yards and a couple touchdowns and, you know, just lighting it up. And so it's going to be difficult because this offense makes life so much easier for a lot of players. I don't know who I go with though. Cause I you know, do you try to figure out a way to get Saquon? Do you try to, AJ will naturally go first in most everyone's, maybe some people get crazy and take Devontae. Not that because he could be higher. Let's be honest, he could be with him moving into the slot and playing all these different positions. But it will be interesting. So, and we were going to have a fantasy football league, by the way, as we've said a couple times. But we'll have that for the channel. Probably coming up quick. I mean, we're honestly we're almost in August, so
soon,
we should probably
weeks.
announce that fairly soon. We'll get on that. But people that are wanting to do the fantasy football league.
It's coming. It's coming. Robert Powell says we need Simmons big time. I was very proud of everybody, and we know who we're talking about here, to not put Justin Simmons headlines today, because I know you saw that there was another Justin Simmons leaked to Philadelphia on Twitter today, and I was like, oh boy, people are going to, you know, here comes the headline, Eagles signing Justin Simmons. Yep. I didn't see it. I did not see that. I was very surprised. Very surprised.
That's good. That is good.
We said this for months. I don't think they need him at all. You know, no. I think they like Reed Blankenship and they love C.J. Gardner-Johnson and they think Cooper DeJean can be a really good player when he's healthy. So, no, I don't think.
And Sidney Brown is going to be eventually available.
Eventually back. Yep.
I mean, the belief in James Bradberry. I'm going to be honest. Like I said it, and I got some heat for it, and that's totally fine. We can all agree to disagree and have our own opinions. I appreciate what JB said. I don't know timeline of how that took place and Howie Roseman's thoughts and what he said at the combine and all this other stuff, but still, it's really speculation. Who really knows? Either way, I mean, that's also going to be an area where I'm going to watch is, does JB play or I guess he will, but does he play in the preseason and can he tackle? Like, show me the stat tracker on how many attempts he had to make tackles and what is that percentage there? Because I'm not a believer. Like, I'll be honest, he's got to prove it to me. I'm sorry. I haven't seen it. So maybe he is the legit option as far as being a backup. But even if he's not, like you say, you got Sidney Brown, you've got Cooper DeJean possibly if you're going to move him there. Vontae Maddox has obviously gotten some reps there. But you don't have to. Justin Simmons will continue to be the name naturally because of the Fangio ties and Christian Parker and him just being available. But I think the vibes of the team, they're just not. They're not going to sign him because, as we've said, it's like if you sign him immediately, you say to the team like, "Hey, Reed's not going to start." Like that would be the assumption. Reed's not going to start, or CJ maybe, but probably Reed's not going to start. And lots of guys, you know, pumped about Reed, pumped up about the squad. So I don't know, maybe not.
GG says Justin Simmons just won't go away. I agree. I looked today. I don't have Justin Simmons in a title or a thumbnail for like 3 months, I think, on my show. And I think you're similar. It's just for whatever
there was
reason,
a point where I was like, I'm done. Like there's no we've talked about it ad nauseum at this point, and there's just wait until it actually officially takes place because you know there's only so much we can bring it up. So
Preach Facts TV says, thought you guys were sitting on the same bed for a second. No. Although, really, we talked about if I just complete the head of Josh's, wherever I can point to it, right there, if I just complete the head, I got to try, I'm going backwards. We could make it look like it, like it's almost similar enough, but not quite. It'd be pretty funny, but not
would
quite.
Be.
Not quite. We have to just move it around just a little bit.
Yeah, you got the lighting for it, so everyone, it looks very similar in that sense.
Yep.
So
it
would be
Anthony
funny.
Perry, another $10 super chat before we wrap up here. Players are so difficult to defend a triple threat guy like Hurts, legs, arm, mind. That's what they said in the top 100. I mean, that's like what everyone said. Like, he might not be the flashiest in terms of 400 yards passing every single week, but he's going to score a ton of touchdowns. And he had 36 last year, which we forget is a massive number, an absolutely massive number, despite having a little bit less through the air and a lot more interceptions. So,
as Anthony said, Fantasy's even got Hurts number 2.
Is he number 2?
Again,
behind McCaffrey, probably.
I would imagine if we're talking. Oh yeah, I would assume
is that
he's
who
talking
you would take
fantasy for those, or
I think so too. If you had the number 1 pick in any of your fantasy leagues this year, who would you take? I thought about this the other day because it probably needs to be like Christian, but McCaffrey, it's like I don't know. I feel like you got to kind of mix it up a little bit.
Gosh, I'd probably have to take McCaffrey. I'm so skeptical of taking running backs though, like just because it seems like every time that I take a running back early, they get hurt. And so I've had some very fortunate luck, or I might call it skill, but I've had some fortunate luck picking up running backs late. Like that's what won it last year. I got Raheem Mostert in the 11th round and Kyron Williams off the waiver wire. So I don't know. There's a tendency to say like, all right, let's go get a receiver. But the issue for me is, okay, so Anthony's saying quarterback. I couldn't tell if that was overall. That makes sense.
Okay.
I would say Justin Jefferson, but I don't know if he's going to have as much, because not that before he had just like the guarantee in Kirk Cousins, but he was going to be able to get him the ball. Right. Now it's like, I don't know. There might be some growing pain. He might take a little bit of regression from what we saw in the past. You could say a Jamar Chase. I'll just say this. Personally, I would prefer to not be number 1 overall, so that I don't have to make that decision. Like if you make me maybe 3 or 4, I'd feel probably better about that. But
yep, there you go.
Well, we're gonna have. Someone says to pick up the mini helmet every time that you reach back there. People think that it's
so far away. I gotta reach way
and they
back
think it's kind of deceiving with the look of it.
I know. It's signed too.
Cool,
it's signed. Saquon and AJ. Boy, yeah.
Word to the wise: if you ever show up to an Eagles event, bring gear to get.
Bring some gear. Bring some gear. We're gonna give that one away one of these days. I don't know when, but it's gonna be given away because you can't see the autographs sitting here because of the way that they are. But I can't really turn them because you can't. I guess I could turn them that way. But yeah, that's gonna be given away one of these days. But nope, they are mini. They are not full size, but they look full size. So. Makes it look like I got big giant helmets behind me. It's like 10 feet to the wall, but it's not. It's right there. So only so much room. Only so much room in the studio. It's just is what it is. So
yes.
All right, we're gonna wrap things up here. Noah said, "Did I miss the giveaway?" Yes. I had one pair of tickets left. Gave those away to Cheyenne. I believe that's how you say his name. He already confirmed it was him. He already has them. I got the notification from Ticketmaster. So. They are gone, but if you're going tomorrow, send us pictures of you on Twitter. We'd love to see what you guys are doing in terms of the open practice, and we'll have full breakdowns and recaps of that on our shows as we always do. So,
there you go.
All right, for Josh Davis, we're at the top of the hour. We sign off. I'm Thomas Mott. Training camp's here. Preseason's about to start. Open practice tomorrow. It's a good time to be a Birds fan. Thumbs up. We enjoy hanging out with you guys. See you all on the next one.
Go Birds.